Hi guys, this is my video for week 2. I am actually recording this back to back with my week 1 video, so if you have any questions about if I ever change my outfit, that is why. So I wanted to follow up on that this week we really are going to try to narrow down your topic. So there's some videos in there that kind of talk about, I like the one that talks about gorillas. That talks about kind of like condensing it into a very specific situation. I had a student that picked something about the UC school system, and in reflection, she started to realize that she should have chose one specific UC school instead of the whole system. So that's one example of trying to narrow things down or get a little bit more specific about what you want to research. All right. So that's one thing that we're going to be working on. Another thing that you're working on is finding some resources, some initial resources that you can use within your paper. You're going to be writing a lit review later. We will talk about that later. I don't want to scare you, but I want you guys to start thinking about what kind of resources you should be using. You dealt with this a little bit in 300, but I want to reiterate this because it's something that I see with students a lot. We have a tendency in our society of, hey, I have a question. I'm going to ask my Google engine, search engine about that. My husband has a phrase that says, pregunta tu tío Google. So ask your Uncle Google for that answer. So that is our tendency in our society. But in these research papers, Google's not necessarily the best place to go. As we know, not everything on the internet is true. Not everything is reliable or credible. And I know that you guys know the difference in that, but for academics, it's not going to be a good resource. Going back to that example of if you're going into your boss and saying, hey, there's this problem and I think this is the solution. And they'll go, why do you think that's the solution? Well, I was chatting in the lunchroom with so-and-so, an employee that's maybe not too reputable, and she thought this was a good idea. Your boss is not going to buy that idea, right? But if you go to him and say, I read an article that was written by, let's say, I don't know, somebody else in your field, let's say, or I heard this speech that somebody gave that is a reputable source, and they kind of inspired this idea, that's going to hold a little bit more weight, okay? So we had the bad example of some random employee in your office, not good. That's your Google search and your USA Today, your Newsweek, those kind of things. Even TED Talks, as inspiring as they are, and maybe will get your ideas going, those should not be your resources in this. Then you've got your good. It should be bad. Good. So your bad ones. Then your good is kind of that like, oh yeah, that reputable person told me. That is going to be, even Harvard Business Review, other kind of reputable sources out there, but maybe don't have research behind them. All right. So you've got those sources. Those are good. Your boss is going to be like, yeah. I know that they're a good source. So they probably do have good ideas. What's great, where we want to strive for, is peer-reviewed journal articles. These are people that took this topic, could be somewhat related to your topic. It could be exactly what your topic is. They basically started to do what you're doing, and they wrote a lit review. And then they went out and took all that information that they got from doing other research, and then they went out and did their own research about it. So they did a study and all of that. Now you may go, yeah, I've read those, and they're really confusing to read and really dry. But I'm going to teach you guys how to read these and how to gain a lot of great information on it. But that's for another video because otherwise this will get too long. All right. That leads me into the other part of this. I recognize that we're putting a lot on you, especially after going from 300. I'm teaching a section of 300 right now, and so I understand that 300 has a lot less assignments than this class. So granted, you're diving into your program now. You're in your second semester, so we are expecting a little bit more. But I realize that we're asking you to find sources, and I'm pushing you to not just Google and find 5 blogs. I really want you to dive into these peer-reviewed sources because I believe that's where we're going to really get the good knowledge. And I don't think that it's fair to you guys to find those sources, read those sources, and write about those sources all in this week. So what I want you to do is only give me a reference sheet. So it's like a bibliography, it's your reference sheet. I'm not even gonna care too much that it's an APA. Try your best. The more you try, the better you'll be off later. So try to get it an APA. I won't mark you off for that. I am basically want to see what sources are you looking at, and I want to give you feedback on good, bad, or great sources, and so that you have the time to go back and look for other sources if you do need it, if you need help. The key is go to the side tab in Canvas. You can see it probably right now as you're watching this video, and there's a Ryan library. Go into there, go into journal. You'll see a tab to go into journal articles. You'll log in with your PLNU information, and then on the side tab, just like if you're shopping on Amazon, there's those little filters. Filter out, check off the boxes for full article, because you don't want any partial articles, and peer reviewed. Do me that favor. That's how you want to do your research. So go into Ryan Library. Go to the side panel once you get into those databases and click on peer-reviewed journal articles. You're going to find some great stuff. And same thing as shopping on Amazon. You go like, I want to buy this. Well, that wasn't the right term. I'm going to change it and say leather brown boots instead of just brown boots, right? So you're going to change up your search engine. I'm going to tell you this too. When you first get into the Ryan Library, you'll see there's like ask a librarian, chat with them. Those librarians are amazing. There's one specifically for our students named Phyllis Fox. She's awesome. But any of those librarians are amazing, and they will live chat you. You can also go into the library on our main campus out in Point Loma, and they'll meet with you. But use them as a resource if you're totally lost on this, all right? Ask me too. I have done this for my own master's program, so I know how to do these searches, but I want you to get away from just Google searching all of this, all right? I hope that makes sense. Again, don't worry about the annotative bibliography. Just send me a list of at least 5 sources so that I can look and see if you're on the right track. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.